Hi class, today we're looking at Chapter 3, Lesson 3, Multiplying Rational Numbers. We are going to learn how to multiply positive and negative fractions and how to evaluate algebraic expressions with those fractions. First, multiply fractions. Remember, to cross divide, you multiply, then simplify. So when they ask you to find the product, they're asking you to find the result or the answer of a multiplication problem. And of course, at the end, you must simplify the fraction in reduced form. So our first step is to look at the integer rules. So we have a negative times a positive. So our answer is going to end up being negative. So we're going to keep the negative for the end. Now the next part, we're going to cross cancel. So we're going to look at what we can divide diagonally. So 9 divided by 3, we know that's going to go in 3 times, and then 3 divided by 3 is 1. Then for 2 divided by 10, so when we divide 2 into 10, that leaves us with a 5, and then 2 divided by 2 leaves us with 1. So our final result is what's left over. So I'm left with negative 3 over 5 as my final answer. And that is in simplest form. Then for example 2, we have 12 over 15 times 6 over 20. And again, we are going to cross divide. So we're going to look at diagonally what we can divide out. So first I'm going to start with 20 and 12. I know that both 20 and 12 have the number 4 that divides into them evenly. So 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. Now the other side, we have 15 and 6. We know that both 15 and 6 have 3 that can divide into both of them evenly. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So our final result ends up being a positive 6 over 25 because we're supposed to multiply whatever is left over in the numerator. So 3 times 2 over the 5 times 5. And that's where I got the 6 over 25. And I know that my answer is positive because both of my fractions were positive. And a positive times a positive gives me a positive answer. Now in this next section, we want to remember when you are multiplying mixed numbers, you are to change them to improper fractions. When we change something into an improper fraction, you have to multiply the whole number to the denominator, and then as that result, you add it to the numerator. So in this case, before I cross divide or multiply or simplify, I need to convert the mixed number into an improper. For example 1, I'm going to take the 3 and 1/3 and convert that into an improper fraction. So I know 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10, so my improper would be 10 over 3. I always want to keep the denominator. Now I'm going to multiply. 9 and 3/4 also needs to be converted. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 3 is 39, so 39 over 4. Now that I converted my mixed numbers to improper fractions, I can do my cross divide. So 10 and 4, the number 2 divides into them evenly. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And now 39 and 3. 3 divides into 3 evenly one time, and 39 divided by 3 is 13. So my final result is 5 times 13, which ends up being 65 over 2. I can leave it as an improper fraction, or I can convert it back. So 2 goes into 65 32 times, but then I'm left with a remainder of 1/2. So my answer is 65 over 2, or 32 and 1/2. And that would be my final answer for that example. Now in example 2, I have 1 2/3 times 4 2/10. I need to convert my mixed numbers into an improper fraction again. So 1 times 3 is 3. 3 plus 2, I end up with 5 over 3. And I multiply the 4 and 2 tenths. And so 4 times 10 is 40, plus 2 is 42 over 10. Now that I've converted my mixed numbers to impropers, I can cross cancel or cross divide. So 5 goes into 5 evenly one time, and then 5 goes into 10 twice. Then we have 3 divided by 3 also goes in one time, and then 3 goes into 42 14 times. So now I'm left with 14 over 2. And of course, 14 over 2 can be evenly divided, and 14 divided by 2, I'm left with the answer of 7. So my answer is actually a whole number. Go ahead and turn your notes over to the back side now. Take a few minutes and do the 4 guided practice problems on your own. And don't forget to write your answers in simplest form. Now in this section, we are going to evaluate expressions with fractions. Variables can represent fractions in algebraic expressions. Evaluate each expression if A equals 9 over 12, B equals negative 2 1/4, and C equals 2 over 5. Write the product in simplest form. So in part A, we are going to substitute our values in for the correct variable. So our first one is A times B. I'm going to substitute in 9 over 12, and I'm going to multiply it by the negative 2 1/4. But now I notice that I have a positive times a negative, so my answer is going to be a negative result. But then I also have a mixed number, so I need to convert my mixed number into an improper fraction. So my improper fraction, negative 2 times 4, would get me 8. 8 plus 1 would be negative 9 over 4. And once I've converted that, I can go into cross dividing. So I can cross divide the 12 and the 9, and it leaves me with 12 divided by 3 is 4, 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then 9 and 4, they cannot be evenly divided by any other number, so we're going to leave those the same. So now we're going to multiply what we have left over. 9 times negative 3 is negative 27 over 4 times 4 is 16. And as you can tell, negative 27 over 16, that is an improper fraction, so we can leave it or we can convert it. 27 divided by 16, and that would end up giving us negative 1 and 11/16 as our final answer. So both of these would be correct answers because they are in simplest form. We just have an improper fraction answer and we have a mixed number answer. Now in example 2, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to substitute in the correct value in for B. So I have negative 2 times negative 2 1/4. So now in this case, negative 2 is a whole number, so I need to convert that into a fraction, negative 2 over 1. Then I'm going to multiply the negative 2 1/4, which we already know is negative 9 over 4. And because we have a negative times a negative, my answer is going to be a positive answer. So we actually don't need the negatives anymore. Our answer will be positive. Now let's see if we can cross cancel. I can cross cancel the 2 and the 4, so it leaves me with 1 and 2. But the 1 and 9 I cannot cross cancel. So my final result is 9 over 2, or I can change that into a mixed number and I get 4 1/2. So 9 over 2 or 4 1/2 would also be a correct answer, the improper and the mixed number. Now go ahead and do the last 4 guided practice problems on your own. Make sure you're substituting the correct value in for the correct variable, and always remember to pay attention to your integers as well as reducing your fractions at the end.